Hello, and thank you for joining me today. I want to show you how I made this great Gatsby-themed cake stand for my daughter's graduation party. So to create this project, it was really simple. I spent about $15 total to create the project. I bought the hula hoops at the Dollar Tree, and I created the bottom piece, which you may not see in the video, by purchasing a wood board from Hobby Lobby for about $5. And then I purchased the strand of pearls, which was also at Hobby Lobby, for about $2.99. So I measured out the pearls to how I wanted them to sit. So from the center of the hoop to the top edge of the hoop. And so after measuring it out, I used some hot glue and glued it to the tape that I have wrapped around the hoops to keep them in place. And I glued the two loose ends of the pearls to the center of the hoop. And so I thought it would be so much easier to have the pearls straddle over the hoop instead of trying to glue them in the way of, the top and the edge. And I thought it would give it more fluidity if I did it this way, and it actually worked better this way. So I just continued on both sides, gluing and draping pearls. The idea here was to give it a very layered look, and it actually worked really well this way. So I just kept taking the pearls and straddling them onto the hoop. I was in a big hurry when I created this. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning when I was making this, because literally the party was the next day. And so I'm moving very fast and not really giving it time to dry. As a suggestion, putting a small piece of felt or fabric on the top would be more ideal, and it probably would get the pearls to stick a lot better instead of gluing it directly onto the tape, which is more like plastic. It kind of melts and then falls right off. So that's just a little pro tip for you in case you want to create this. So I did struggle with this a little bit because, like I said, I was in a big hurry and I didn't give it time to dry. But once you stick those pearls on there and start layering them on, it won't be so big of a hassle. I wanted to keep the front and the back the same, so I just kind of measured out the same length for both, with maybe the exception of just a little inch or two of pearls extra to kind of give it more of of a layered look. And as you can see, I did struggle, so I did end up using a little bit of hot glue to hold it in place, and that did help a little bit. But I went ahead and still draped it over to keep that look going. Explain. So if the pearls are draped, so there would be like two sides. So like the front side I kept shorter, and the back side I let fall a little more. So I kept that side longer. So it really helped create the layered look. And I just primarily kept all the pearls the same length, as I said, with the exception of some I made a little bit longer, but I ended up trimming down because I felt like I could just adjust the length by pulling one side to be longer and the other one to be shorter. Closer to the top because I wanted to fill in those gaps a little bit more. That came out really well. So I did that by just kind of like gluing the pearls the closer to where the the edge was sitting on the hoop, if that makes any sense. And it kind of held better. So if I glue it onto something that's already been glued, it gave it more structure. And I wanted to also mention that these pearls are a little bit on the curly side, so I did have to kind of wrap them around my finger and give them a little pull to stretch them out a bit so they wouldn't be so wrinkled or curly as I put them on. I wanted them to hang as loosely as they possibly could hang. And so to finish the project, once I was satisfied with the pearl placement, I just went ahead and started gluing my feathers. And these feathers I did buy from Amazon. I ended up buying a huge pack of these because I needed them for a lot of my projects for the party. And these did cost me about like $50, but I'd say roughly if we split the cost for them, I probably only spent maybe like $5 to $7 to use them for this cake stand. So I went ahead and started gluing the feathers in between the hula hoop, and some in the front, some in the back, and also glued some in the middle to give it a little bit more volume. And so as you see, some of the pearls started slipping off once again because I didn't really have a good base to glue it to. I find that it didn't really glue very well to the plastic. So as a suggestion, once again, maybe even using a little bit of fabric or felt behind it would be good. So that way it could have more of a strong base to stick to. And so I noticed that some of the feathers also started slipping off. And so once again, I just put those back in place and kept gluing. And then I focused more in the front because, I wanted it to look more presentable. And I didn't really worry about the back too much. But I glued a lot of the feathers to the front. And once I was complete with that, I just kind of started adjusting them while the glue was still tacky to get them to stand a little bit better, and added more feathers if need be. And then after I added the last feather on, I just put a big wad of hot glue in the middle and added my gemstone. I bought these gemstones on Amazon. They came in a pack of like 30 or something like that. They were very inexpensive, but they worked really well for the project. Afterwards, I just trimmed around all the excess feathers or any glue. I ended up using a heat gun to just kind of give it a little blow to get rid of any of those spider webs that came from the glue gun. And then I actually decided that I wanted to add more pearls. And so I just kind of started taking some strands and playing with them to find out what would look best for the stand. This part was completely optional, but I felt like I was completely satisfied with the way the stand looked. And again, it was 3 in the morning and it was time for me to go to sleep so I can get up early and prep for the event the next day. I checked the measurements for the stand and it was complete. I was happy. And this was the final result. Once again, here's the cake stand with all the desserts plated on it. I'm really happy with the way this came out. This was a God-given idea. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a huge like. Please check out some of my other videos on how I made some of the holders for the dessert table. Until the next time we meet, take it easy.